Hey, what's up, guys? It's Brad, not Blake, and Blake, not Brad, back from the World Strength Games. And we're here with Brian the nurse, right? Brian the
Yeah,
nurse?
Nurse
Awesome.
Brian.
Nurse Brian, sorry. We're going to talk about methylene blue.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
we are.
we were talking to Brian yesterday, and I think one of our employees, Caleb, he was like, I got to try this methylene blue stuff. Because we've heard about it. We've all seen RFK.
Big
Talk
topic
about
right
it.
He got caught.
Yeah, he got caught. Yeah. It's easy to do when your tongue is blue. You know, you're like, yeah, there it is. Yeah. So,
I think everyone's initial thought was like drugs.
yeah.
right? Anything with color that's not normal is
I thought it was like toilet bowl cleaner.
Yeah, that or there's another thing
Yeah.
for something else in the bedroom that turns your tongue blue.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Wait,
But-
what is it?
I can't remember what it's called, but I
I
know what
can't
it's
remember.
called.
But yeah.
Is it a drink though? No.
So it's a 1% solution, methylene blue, or you're talking about the
Oh,
other
what
thing?
was the
Oh,
bedroom
I
thing?
get it.
the other thing, I
the
think
other
it's like
thing-
a blue thing they
Pill,
stick on
it's
their
a
tongue and it
pill.
dissolves
Oh,
in your
blue
mouth.
chew.
Viagra.
The blue
Yeah,
chew.
Blue
yes,
chew,
Blue
yeah.
chew.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Sorry, I
Yes.
thought you were
It
talking
hit
about
me in the
this.
middle of that. I'm like, wait, are we on a different subject now?
Yeah. Let's talk about bedroom etiquette.
It's all muddled up there.
Well, we want to hear your story too. So maybe tell us what methylene blue is,
Sure.
and then start from like, because you're actively serving
Yes.
in the Utah National Guard.
Yes,
Correct.
I am
Okay.
a
Awesome.
Spanish and Korean linguist in the Utah Army National Guard.
Cool. With a little hint of intelligence in there. Intel, right? Or,
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
cool.
Intel and trained on some interesting things.
Nice.
I can't divulge too much, otherwise,
Yeah.
I could get in trouble. Or you just,
Yeah,
I'm just
exactly.
messing.
No, they'll kill you.
Yeah, essentially, that's what I signed it on the dotted line.
Exactly.
After doing the lie detector test, the
Oh, yeah.
polygraph,
Yeah, that's
so
true.
all that stuff.
So how'd you get to the National Guard? Was that secondary to what you're doing?
Yeah, it was. It was honestly like post George Floyd, like the mayhem,
Okay.
everything going on. Regardless of what you think about, how people protested when there was a curfew in Salt Lake City. I said, "What the heck is going on with the country I live in? That I believe is the land of the free, and here they are, putting a curfew on the people there." So I decided to join the Army National Guard at that point. I'd always wanted to. My dad and grandpa had served in the Air Force. And so I said, sign me up. So I went out in 2020, swore in September, and they were shipping me out to boot camp in April. And I went out to boot camp and got COVID for the first time.
Nice.
In April
They
of
gave it to you
2021.
all.
Yeah, it seemed like it. I was actually a nurse on a COVID unit at the University of Utah Hospital. Never got it there,
Oh,
because we're
crazy.
wearing those astronaut shoots, the Pappers.
Yeah.
Luckily it wasn't the worst unit where they're putting people in body bags pretty much every day. Like I said, I stopped working on the COVID unit about a month before I went to basic training to remodel our house. So I know I didn't bring COVID from the COVID unit to basic training. I wasn't, what they call it, patient zero or whatever. There was another dude there, and we were on a run, and he was just like passing out. And we're like, oh shoot, I think
Yeah,
we're
we
all
all
gonna get
got
sick.
it.
Yeah, so we were quarantined in a COVID unit. There's about 200 of us in like a barracks. I called it like a COVID concentration camp, but that's probably not like the most appropriate
Dude, totally.
thing
I
to
don't-
call it.
I think that's where it's obvious that's where you got it. I mean, everybody at
Yeah.
boot camp gets sick anyway.
Oh yeah,
They inject you with all sorts of stuff so you stay healthy, right? But I still got like crazy pneumonia.
Serious.
Back in 2007.
wow.
Like it hit me hard. I'd never been that sick until I got to the military.
Yeah, were you put on like bed rest or what kind of stuff?
For like
did you...
2 days, yeah. They gave me
Wow.
the heaviest drugs like penicillin and all this crazy.
Shoot.
They just knocked me out. I slept for 2 days and it felt like I slept for like an hour. I was like,
Still tired.
time warp.
Oh
like,
right, I see.
I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still here. Like, damn it.
Yeah, I'm still in basic training. I thought it was a nightmare.
This is real.
But they at least like the drill instructors and like, drill sergeants in the army, right?
Yeah, just
They-
hard.
They're under strict, pretty, instruction to like not mess with you if you do have you're
Yeah.
like, and they could tell because I was like top performing guy at boot camp, and then it was like boom, just hit a brick wall,
Wow.
and I was still trying to go, and like all my phlegm was like bright green, so I like couldn't run. I was like passing out like at PT and stuff, so they like sent me to medical, and then
Shoot.
they just left me alone for like 2.5, almost 3 days. and I just slept the whole time, and I was right as rain after that. But then
Heck
year after year, I had like walking pneumonia.
Really?
I couldn't shake it. And I bring this up because I think you had a similar experience you got COVID at boot camp, right?
Yes.
And then it just persisted.
So after finishing boot camp, I went to the Defense Language Institute in Monterey, California. I was trained in Spanish, which a lot of people laugh at. They're like, wait, why do we need Spanish linguists in the Army? But we do, because the Army helps to protect against international threats and organized crime, international crime organizations.
That means cartels.
Yeah. And so I got COVID the second time there. And then that one actually wasn't too bad. Like when I was in basic training, my run time went from like a 9-minute mile to a 12-minute mile. Like I was never a super fast runner, but to add 3 miles after boot camp or to add 3 minutes to your mile time going through boot camp, it's the opposite direction you want to go.
Yeah, that's not good.
So then after the second time, I ended up going back to working at the hospital. And then it was actually after a drill weekend, hospital shift. So I'm not sure where exactly. Could have been, community contracted, but I got COVID a third time. And that time my throat felt like lava. It hurt so bad. It felt like I got hit by a truck. And I literally, like exactly like you said, I needed to sleep in bed for like 2-3 days straight. I couldn't do anything. And then gradually I'm like, okay, I'll get better. So I called into work and did all that stuff, used all my PTO. Then I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm not better. Like my energy level is probably like 25% what it normally is.
Yeah.
And got on FMLA, fast forward. I don't know if we want to make a long story short, but, 9 months, the U kind of held my spot, but eventually they had to let me go. I went to the COVID clinic up at the University of Utah Hospital. They checked me out. They referred me to a bunch of different specialists. And then those specialists, like no one knew about COVID. No one knows what to do with COVID.
Yeah.
And so they're just treating symptoms. And I tried every medication that the doctor prescribed. I read every research paper out there, every fringe, study that was going on. And I said, okay, doc, put me on this. And none of them worked. I tried all the supplements that they recommended, nicotine patches. I had lidocaine injected into my stellate ganglia, which is like nerve clusters that affect like your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system.
Dang.
And none of it worked. Like I had a cardiac MRI, I had a muscle biopsy cut up in my calf. I had, all sorts of blood tests done. And in that process, I found out that I have a genetic mutation that affects my mitochondrial function.
So you're basically an X-Man.
Yeah, you could definitely say that, but in like the reverse direction. So this thing has like affected me my entire life. I mean, I can remember back to kindergarten where, we were running a lap around the track and I was the second to last person. The guy behind me was very obese and, you would kind of expect him not to be able to run, but I'm like, what's wrong with me? So, on the cardiovascular ICU, they actually give methylene blue intravenously to certain patients. It's kind of like a Hail Mary, as one of the anesthesiologists there described to me.
Wow.
When patients are like on their deathbed, and this is after they're, had a heart attack or they need a heart transplant or, they're really sick. And they've tried everything and nothing's working. They'll inject them with methylene blue intravenously. And I honestly can't remember what the outcomes were for those patients, but I have to think that these anesthesiologists that have been doing what they've been doing for decades, and you have dozens of different specialists that round on these patients daily, there had to be, in their minds, a certain amount of confidence that this was going to do something.
Yeah. So that's insane. So is that where they gave you methylene blue? It was like,
no, so I was a
just
CNA. That was back in 2017, 18, 19 when I was a CNA before I joined the Guard.
nice.
And that COVID just persisted. I was essentially like in an assisted living in my own home with my wife and my kids taking care of me for 20 months.
This is the part of the conversation I tuned in on yesterday.
Yeah.
So down, bedridden, 20 months.
Yes. There were occasional good times where, I'd be able to go pick up my kids from school, drop them off at stuff, maybe do a half a load of laundry. Like my wife and kids picked up a huge amount of slack, and I just have the best family. My wife is the best person in the world.
That's awesome.
Like honestly, if everyone knew her, you'd be a happier person.
20 months is a ridiculously long time.
It is. And in the moment, day by day, you don't know when it's going to end. It's an
Yeah.
eternity each day. You know, I have my own religious beliefs. You know, I believe in God, and I believe that that one day there will be a resurrection. And literally, my mantra was, I don't know if I'll get healed in this life or in the next when the resurrection comes, but I know it will happen
Yeah, there you go. Eventually.
eventually.
So how did you you start finding methylene blue? How
Yeah,
did you hear about it first?
So the first time I heard about it, like as a supplement, is my brother-in-law Jacob. He's more into it, like biohacking and like that health sort of conscious stuff. Not that I'm not, but he's more in tune with it. And he's like, "Hey man, you got to try methylene blue." And when you're that sick, you get dozens of recommendations from so many people. You get a long list,
Yeah.
and you just don't always have time to immediately do it. So it wasn't until actually a couple months later where I was like, honestly, I feel like I had like a spiritual prompting, like, "Hey, you need to get methylene blue now. Like, order it." So I go on, order it, get it to my house. This is April 24th, the first time that I take it. And, you know, I start with a couple drops and I ease my way into it nice and slowly because I'm like, so methylene blue has been around for 150 years. It was invented by a German chemist in 1876.
Whoa.
It
And
was
he
used as like a dye or something, wasn't it?
exactly. So they didn't know exactly what they were going to do with it. He was kind of, you know, researching and like trying to invent stuff. And they're like, "Hey, let's use it to dye textiles."
Right. Okay,
So-
yeah, textile dye.
Yeah, so clothing and all that sort of stuff. Fast forward a couple of years, they started to use it under microscopes on the slides, so they could see certain parts of the cell better.
Oh yeah.
And they put it on malaria because they wanted to check that out. And they're like, "Well, that's weird. The malaria is dead." They found out that it killed malaria, so it was the first anti-malarial treatment.
No kidding.
Then they found out that it helped with optimizing bacteria, you know, like kind of like an antibiotic. Like if
Yeah.
you had too much, it's going to bring it down. And so it was the first antibiotic. In fact, there's some Navy songs where they sing about peeing blue. That's because they were taking all this, you know, methylene blue when
Get
they're
rid of the
traveling the world.
scurvy, get rid of all that stuff.
Yeah, parasite. It's an anti-parasitic. It does
Oh.
all sorts of really incredible stuff. And then the reason why they were using it in stains, they later found out is it would go into the mitochondria. That's where the methylene blue would concentrate.
The powerhouse of the cell.
Exactly.
Mitochondria. The powerhouse.
It's where
Science.
it's where ATP is created.
Right.
You know, ATP is like the
Muscle
currency.
recovery. Yeah. It's all linked with muscle recovery too. Like ATP is like, do they know? Last time I checked about ATP, they were like, we don't know where it comes from.
That's a great question. I mean, as far as I know, so ATP fluctuates between ADP and ATP, adenosine diphosphate and adenosine triphosphate. And that fluctuation happens when ATP goes out throughout the whole body and it gets expended. A phosphate group is breaking off from ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So you got 3 groups, to adenosine diphosphate, 2 groups. And that energy release is what makes everything happen in the body. Like muscle recovery, you need ATP to make that protein heal your body.
Oh.
When you're, you know, anything that, you know, cell multiplication and just everything, ATP is what is expended. And then the ADP find their way back into the mitochondria. And then they go into, I wish I had done a lot more research recently. You know, I had to brush up on some of my old biology stuff, but there's something called the electron transport chain. And in there's multiple complexes or kind of pieces of machinery
Nice.
that are created to help electrons go from a higher level of power to a lower level of power. And as they do that, they pump out a hydrogen proton. They pump it out. And that is what powers what's called ATP synthase to create the ATP.
Nice.
Now, what methylene blue does is it bypasses complex 3, which is exactly what's wrong with me. I have one good gene and one bad gene. And so half of my complex 3s are bad. And so if you had a V8 engine, it'd be like you're running on 4 cylinders. So what methylene blue does is it bypasses that, and it's returned me not only to as good of health that I had before all this COVID stuff, but to better than I've ever been my entire life.
Nice,
And that's
dude.
particular to me. That won't be for everybody. That's just my
Yeah.
unique situation.
With that gene mutation that you have, methylene blue is like the key
Exactly.
that unlocks the rest
Is
of it.
methylene blue for everybody?
That's a great question. There's certain people that shouldn't take it. or that should do it under a doctor's purview and oversight. People with antidepressants, SSRIs, people that shouldn't take it, pregnant women, nursing women. In the past, they injected it into the placenta, in fact, where the fetus is growing. And there were some potential issues that they found there, which makes sense. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
But it's been incredible. Like, I literally just started taking Methylene Blue a month ago. And within a week, I had May 1st is like my new birthday. I felt like Wolverine, just like
That's
coming
awesome.
back to energy. Did a headstand next to the wall, started doing, some headstand push-ups on the wall, and went and ran a mile that day. The next week, I went and swam 2 miles over 4 sessions at the pool, and
Wow.
I've just started my own brand, Nurse Brian's M Blue, Methylene Blue, and
that's what you're here promoting today. So we saw you have
Yes.
a booth over here, and you're promoting that. And that's I think Caleb bought a bottle from you,
yeah,
right?
yeah, he did.
That's
There's, I didn't know what the reception was going to be like, but I've gone to a bunch of different networking, like business networking groups, like BNI's, Connect Utah, those sorts of things, and people just there's
That's
people
awesome.
that are already taking it, people that know people that are taking it. There's so many
Yeah.
people that I'm learning, like people like, oh, I've been taking this for 2 years. Like, man, I
Nice.
wish I would have found it 2 years ago.
So where can people find you, and where can they find your product?
Yeah, great. So I am Nurse Brian K on Instagram. You can also check out my website, nursebrian.com. As of this recording right now, it's still in the works and construction, but by the time production's finished, I should have my website up and running. So nursebrian.com.
There you go, man. Guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Nurse Brian. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah,
thank you,
pleasure.
Brian.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're doing too, spreading the word about this. There's a lot of suppression in the health industry that we got to get over. So
100%. Yeah,
Love it, man.
the energy that it gives to people. There's all sorts of things, because if your mitochondria are messed up, any organ in your body can be messed up.
Right.
So this has cleared my mind. It's given me so much energy, so much strength. My mood is better.
Nice.
Like it's not a silver bullet for everything, but there's tons of people taking it. Athletes, RFK, Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
It's all over the place.
that's awesome, dude. Well, thanks for your time, man. Have a good one. And
Yeah,
appreciate
pleasure.
you being on.
Thank you,
too.
Brian.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.